Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to be trying to breathe new life into this very old laptop. Today we have the Acer Travelmate 4230 which came out in 2006. It originally shipped with Windows XP and it is currently running Windows 7, and we are going to be upgrading that today and installing a version of Linux on today. There will be chapters in this video, so feel free to skip to whatever point you're interested in. But for now, let's talk about the specs. So we have an Intel Core 2 Dual T5500, which is clocked at 1.66 gigahertz. The dual core, dual threaded processor. I don't think hyper-threaded has been invented at this point yet. It has 1 gigabyte of DDR2 RAM in it, running at 667 megahertz. It has a 40 gigabyte IDE drive, so it's not even SATA 1. It has a 15.4 inch 1280 by 800 display, so that is 16 by 10, and it is a TN panel, so viewing angles aren't going to be great. For graphics, it has the Intel GMA 950. Which came out in 2005. It's just one of the much earlier Intel integrated graphics chips. We are going to be upgrading it to 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is the max that this accepts. And I have an IDE to SATA adapter, which we're going to be trying to put a 256 gigabyte SATA into there. So the IDE interface has a max theoretical speed of 125 megabytes a second. But doing a quick disk speed test on this machine, it was only getting about 25 megabytes read and 10 megabytes write. So even with an SSD in there, if it can only cap out at 125 megabytes a second speeds, that would still be a huge improvement on this machine. So the Linux distro I will be putting on here today is Q4OS. It's a lightweight Linux distribution, of course, and it features a Windows XP-esque kind of look to it by default on the Trinity desktop environment that it defaults with. So it'll be quite appropriate. So without further ado, let's get on with the upgrades. Right, so we'll have the laptop here. Not in the worst condition. Love the Windows XP sticker. But yes, so we'll flip it. And it's been made pretty easy to get to these upgradable components. So for the hard drive, it's just this tray here. We'll have the IDE drive here. And here is our adapter with the SATA. I think in total this came to about £16 with the adapter and the SATA SSD. So because of the size of this thing, we're not going to be using the mounting bracket at all. So we will just get this M2 SATA installed on here. And then this is going to go in the IDE port like this. Just like so. I have heard some things about M2 SATA adapters not working for IDE, so we'll just have to see how it goes with that one. But next we'll have this plate, which is going to give access to the RAM and the CPU if you wanted to upgrade that, but we won't be doing that today. We're just going to take all these screws out. Now with those out, we'll just pop this plate off. And there is the CPU, and I'm assuming GPU. you've got access to that there. The Wi-Fi card, and here is what we're looking for, the RAM sticks. So we'll just pop those out. And we're going to be upgrading that to a 4GB kit. Now this is clocked at 800 megahertz, this stuff, but it's still DDR2. So it should just downclock to 667 megahertz when it goes into this machine. I hope. Right, so now that that's done, we can just pop this plate back on. And put the screws back in. Right, so now that that's done, we'll get Q4OS installed on here and see how things run. So, we're just going to do a cold boot of this now that we've put the upgrades in and put Q4OS on here. Q4OS 5.8 Aquarius. Does take a bit of time to boot up usually. So, in terms of issues, so the original IDE to SATA adapter that I used did not work. So I ordered a different model, a more robust looking one. It was slightly more expensive on Amazon, and then it did work. So another issue is, for some reason, it's only recognizing 3 gigabytes of RAM out of the 4 that I have inserted. Just pop the password in there. So I have looked and the BIOS is recognizing 4 gigabytes of RAM. And I have tried a few different live distros, like in the live desktop environment through USB, and they're all only picking up the 3 gigabytes, which I will show here. There's a groovy little startup tune in Q4OS there. I have put on the Windows XP Bliss wallpaper to keep in line with the theme of things. So I'll just quickly show you. So you can see there's not much RAM being used on initial boot, less than 400 megabytes, well according to HTOP anyway. That will be more. In the built-in system monitor there, it's saying it's using 860 megs roughly. But I think there's an issue with this as well, because it says that the RAM's maxed out after you've been on the system for a period of time, which is just not true. But, so yes, 3 gigabytes of RAM being recognized in Linux, but that's still a huge improvement over the 1 gigabyte, so I'll take it for this machine. Another issue that I ran into is that upon first installing, the sound wasn't working. After doing some research, it's just that Linux recognizes these speakers as headphones. So you just have to open up the mixer there, go to HDA Intel, and then enable the headphone selection and enable it and just put it at max volume. And then you have volume working on the system. But yes, things do seem to be running quite well and smooth on here. As you can see, it's very Windows XP kind of looking. And just for a nearly 19-year-old machine, so nearly 2 decades old, I'm just amazed at everything that it does successfully. So we'll open up Chrome here. And get looking at some browser activities and some YouTube playback. So we'll take this to YouTube. You can see how fast that loads up. Which is
Not that fast, but acceptable if you're patient. It's take a while, but we are talking about a very old CPU here. Nope, that is what I was looking for. Let's have a look in here to pick a video. So I have installed the Chrome extension H205. So it turns the VP9 codecs that YouTube uses on modern browsers and turns it into H264, which is a lot friendlier on these older CPUs and GPUs and any architecture in general. So it just ekes out a bit more performance. And you want to eke out as much performance as you can here. So you can see it's 720p 60. This is just not it's just not gonna quite manage it. Like lots of stuttering, lots of drop frames and buffering. But if we have a look at a 720p video that's running at 24 frames, it does just about manage that with the H205 Chrome extension. And the speakers on here aren't the worst. I will do the speaker test as well of this song from No Copyright Sounds, so there's no risk of a copyright strike. So that's them at max volume. They lack any sort of bass or anything, but they're serviceable. And for the time, this is pretty standard. So yeah, that's YouTube. We'll have a look, because it does run modern streaming sites as well. So we will have a look at Netflix. I say everything just seems to take a bit of time to load up on here, but that is to be expected. Just whack something on. Start Let's Flats. That's a pretty funny show.
I'm Staff.
Did not mean to do that.
Nice to meet you, Roger. I'm Staff. Oh, this is my girlfriend, Katja. She's beautiful.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, she looks stunning. You are, honestly. Innit?
Yeah, and we don't want to leave this on for too long. It's just a proof of concept. So yeah, that's Netflix working, and we'll have a look at Disney as well. Yeah, so as you can see, you are going to have to be patient when loading things up on this machine. But it does work. It does work for a 19-year-old machine. You can do these things. Dare I try a very modern, high-profile thing? As you can see, it's running that fine as well. One of the latest blockbusters to hit Disney Plus. Pretty impressive. Yeah, so the machine did just reboot on us there for no apparent reason, which brings us to another issue I did forget to mention. That's happened about 5 or 6 times on us as I've been using it throughout the past few days. And there doesn't seem to be any sort of pattern to when or why it does decide to randomly reboot. Doesn't seem to be anything to do with system load or anything, but God knows. Like I say, we're talking about a 19-year-old machine here. I should have a tally of how many times that I call this a 19-year-old machine. I might even put one up. Yes, so we'll get back to Chrome. But yes, you could see that Disney Plus was running as well until it untimely demise of the machine and the reboot. But yeah, with standard web browsing as well, obviously if it's going to run videos, it's going to run pretty much anything that you want to look at really. Well, look at Reddit. Yeah, and it feels a bit sluggish. I say patience will be key if you're actually wanting to revive a machine like this from the dead. But it is gonna work. Everything's working. We'll have a look at the word processor. We've got LibreOffice installed. So as you can see, everything is just taking a bit of time to start up. So we'll do the keyboard test. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. You know, it's your basic word processing. It's going to have no issues with that. So, as well, in terms of gaming, now, I've not had much luck at anything to run on here, really. Not much luck at all, but that is to be expected because it's integrated graphics from 20 years ago. Yep, so that is Steam loaded up. Funnily enough, which I was shocked at, Tomb Raider 2013, which is my benchmarking game of choice, does actually boot. I've not been able to get into a game, but it does actually load up, albeit at 1 frame a second, if that. But I'll just show you that for example. So yeah, as you can see, just in the menu, it's like less than 1 FPS. Although the audio does seem to be working without skipping. But I'm just shocked that the system even lets this game boot, because it's just insane. So I will try to click continue. Oh my god. It's never actually got this far before. It's always, whenever I've tried testing it, it always crashes when I load the save. It doesn't get to this loading screen. Wow, we might actually get in the game here. Oh. So we have, wow. We have audio. We have visual. 800 by 600 minimum settings, and we are getting nowhere near 1 frame a second. But I can't believe that this is booted into actual gameplay. Well, if you can call it gameplay. I don't think I'm able to move the camera or Lara, but wow. Yeah, controls so far unresponsive, but I can't believe this. Wow, it's picking up the mouse movements, and of course this is not playable. I pressed the OK to move Lara about 10 seconds ago, but wow, I am shocked. Would you look at that? I pressed jump a while ago. Is it gonna jump? This makes the Intel HD Bay Trail feel like a friggin' 5090. So yes, completely unplayable, but wow, it booted. Oh, and it finally crashed. But wow, that was fun. That was, yeah, I like that. So anyway, you know what it is, I think I'm just gonna close Steam down and start it again, because there was a couple of basic 2D games that were running okay that I will show. Right, so load Steam back up and I will show a game that I did have success with before, which is Undertale. We'll just quickly get through this. So yeah, as you can see, this is running at about just under 30 frames a second. So playable, especially with this game. Not that I've played much of it, but yeah, it's gonna run, and it's gonna run at a playable rate, so you can play Undertale on this game, on this machine. We have another game. Which is VVVVVV. It's just a 2D platformer. Yes, it was just like a, oh, just one of them kind of, oh, no, come on, that's the key. Yes, it was just like one of them kind of games. You've got to get through the obstacles, and there's a bit of slope. Oh, no, no, no. There we go. Oh no! So yeah, I'm crap at this kind of thing, but you get the idea. Something basic in 2D is going to be playable. So that's it for Steam. Classic Cube does kind of run at really low settings. I wouldn't call it massively playable, but in a pinch, you know, you kind of get away with it. Doesn't really hit 20 frames that often, but you know, if you just want a quick mess about in this, and it's doable. Yeah, when you zoom out a bit, it's gonna get pretty choppy. But yeah, you get the idea. It certainly ain't gonna run real Minecraft if it's struggling to run Classic Cube at a playable frame rate. But wait, Clippers, I hear you say you can't do a breathing new life video without some true Tomb Raider gameplay, surely. Well, with the help of Game Boy Advance emulation, we still can do that. And I will show that now. Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. This is how we play Tomb Raider on a 19-year-old laptop. With a crappy GBA port. That's how. To be fair, for a GBA game, I bet this was pretty fun at the time if it's all you had, but I've got the classic pistols. No, it doesn't really have a face in this, but again, if you're playing this on a GBA at the time, but yes, but we can do one better than this, thanks to this crazy project called OpenLara. So this isn't going to look as impressive because it's just emulation on here. Now this is a GBA emulation, not PS1 emulation. I couldn't get that running on here. But the guys over at the OpenLara project have ported the original Tomb Raider from PlayStation, well at least the first 3 levels anyway, to the Game Boy Advance. And we're going to test that out now. And look at that. It is Tomb Raider running on what would be a Game Boy Advance, but now thanks to Game Boy Advance emulation, we're also running it on this old laptop that can't run anything. So yeah, I'll leave a link to the OpenLara project in the description, and you should really check it out because it's pretty cool. Just can't figure out how to get the guns. There was a button combination to do so, but I can't remember it. That was it. Because also the GBA has a lot less buttons than a PS1 controller. But this, it's Tomb Raider. You can see it's running playably, pretty much. So yes, there is our Tomb Raider gameplay. There we go. Some actual, real 3D Tomb Raider. Oh. So yes, there you have it. So now, let's talk about the benchmarks. So for the disk speed, with the IDE mechanical, we were getting 25 megabytes a second read and 10.4 megabytes a second write, which is very slow. But with the SATA to IDE adapter upgrade, we are now getting 83.9 megabytes a second read and 67 megabytes a second write. Still very slow and nowhere near the capability of the SATA that's in there, but it's only about the speed of a mechanical SATA 3 drive, really, a 5400 RPM one. But it's still a huge improvement over the previous drive that was in here. So the IDE being the huge bottleneck on this system. With Geekbench 6, we actually got 200 single core and 345 multi-core, which actually slightly beats out a laptop I did a video on previously, the Lenovo IdeaPad 110, which only got 195 single and 342 multi. So it's actually slightly faster technically in that benchmark than a machine that came out literally 10 years after it. However, it must be noted that it doesn't feel faster, generally speaking, due to the slow drive and slower RAM that is in here. In speedometer, the browser benchmark, we've got 3.02. I'd say about 11 or 12 area is what you'd need for like zero lag in a browsing experience. But as you've seen earlier, it's pretty slow. But yes, honestly, as I've had this set up, I have found myself actually going to it. I think it's more just the novelty of the fact that this is a 19-year-old machine and I'm able to do basic tasks like whack a YouTube video on a podcast and use this machine, and I have had fun with it, and it's more exciting getting something so old actually running a modern day operating system with modern day tasks. But yes, anyway, that about does it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike, or do absolutely nothing at all. The choice is yours. If you did like this video, consider subscribing, because I will be uploading more videos similar to this in the future. But for now, that is me signing off. Goodbye.